Hey everyone, Jeff here at Stop the Pirates, stopblogspot.com. We got the grainy video thing going on here today. But that's cool. I don't have a lot of high-tech equipment because I don't need it. This works fine. Um, but thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Stay till the end, and you might get some information that you'll find useful. But what I'm noticing now is I want to talk about insurance, car insurance, health insurance, and things like are mandated. It's the law that if you drive a car, that car needs to be insured. Now let me explain something to you. When you're born in the United States of America, you're considered a bastard child. Now if you look at your birth certificate, you'll see that your mother's name is her maiden name, and so you're actually considered a bastard child, and your father's name is on there, of course, his last name. But your mother has to use her maiden name, even though she's married, and she doesn't even go by that name anymore. Let me pull mine out. I have it. Anyway, you can pull your birth certificate out and check that out. She's listed as parent or other informant, and so she's an informant. She's informing on you that she is basically a deadbeat debtor. What do you call it? Oh gosh. So every time I make these videos, it's hard when I'm sitting here looking at myself to think of these names. She's a pauper, basically, a destitute mother with no means of anything. So what she's doing is she's taking that infant and signing it over to the state, whichever state she happens to be there. The hospital and the doctor actually handle all the paperwork for you. And now they give you your Social Security card right there at the hospital. As soon as the baby's born, you sign over. The hospital only gets anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 as like a stipend fee from the local constabulary, the local government. But anyway, so you're considered a bastard child. That's why in the United States of America, what we think is a country, but is actually a corporate entity. It's actually a plantation. It's a tax farm. It's a slave plantation. But you're living in a free country. That's why you need to go off to Iraq and Iran and fight the wars over there. But anyway, I'm digressing. But so you're considered a bastard child, a ward of the state until you're 18. Now, once you're 18, what you're supposed to do is claim back your status or your estate. You're supposed to say, okay, I'm an adult now. Here, you can file my UCC1 financing papers, my paperwork. I don't need you guys anymore. Give me all my estate back, my corporation, my name, my straw man. Give it all back to me. I can handle it all myself now. But nobody ever does that. That's why up until you're 18, the state can come in and say, hey, you're abusing this child. You're not feeding it correctly. And there's a lot of, I think, unfortunately, people that don't take care of their children. But in a normal society, your neighbor or your family would take care of it, your grandparents, your parents or something. You don't need the state of California coming in and banging your door in and taking your kid off to some foster care where they can be raped and pumped full of antipsychotic drugs because they're a little. Anyway, see, I digress off. But so they have a financial interest in the children because the state indoctrinates them in the government indoctrination centers, K through 12. And when you get done there, they have a good tax slave. And you're going to have to get a job immediately unless you go to a college or anything, learn another skill where you have to get a license to practice whatever, blah, 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 fill in the blank. So you're a commodity to them to be bought and sold. And by the way, they do take your birth certificate when you're born, and they place a bond on it, and a bond is a promise to pay. And that bond is issued out onto the international stock market. And your birth certificate bond is probably owned by China or whoever purchased it in the stock market, because that's what you are. You're stock. You're like cattle or stock on a farm. But anyway, my point is, here I'm digressing again. My point is that we never, as U.S. citizens, will ever own anything. Like if you think you buy a car and hey, it's my car, right? I can do whatever I want with it. Now, granted, if you quit paying the registration and take the tires off and roll it into the backyard, they're even cracking down on that and let it sit there. Yeah, you own the car. But if you're going to drive it out in these streets, it has to be registered and insured. Now, if you don't pay the registration, your little sticker, little telltale sticker on the back, has a 13 on it instead of a 15. Then the guy with the badge and the gun and the little black and white car, and who's all jacked up on coffee and donuts, is going to pull you over, and at the point of a gun, make you sign basically a ticket or a promise to appear in an administrative process. You don't pay that. But anyway, I'm digressing again. So it's taxation at the barrel of a gun, but it's their car because you registered it with them. When you register something, you registrate. That means you Regis is king, so you hand over your property to the king. So you register it. They own it now. It's their property, and they can do whatever they want with it. They take the title. You don't get the title. You get a certificate of title. It's like you get a certificate of live birth. So it's their car. So if you don't pay the registration or the rental fee and keep everything up on it and leave it out on the street, they'll send a tow truck with a police officer to pick it up and take it to the impound lot, where if you don't pick it up or register it, it'll be sold at a police auction. And the proceeds will go to buy more guns and police with badges to keep pulling you over. So what's my point in all this? Insurance. Because they own your physical body, and you're considered basically we're all considered orphans, because we're lost at sea. We haven't reclaimed our status as a person or a live human being. And all this started, I'll just digress into this for just a quick second. It all started with I think it was the Act of 1666 in England. And it goes back to this country until after the Civil War. But basically, they don't know who's who or what happened after there's just been a major war going on. The war's over now. We don't know where anybody is. So we're going to go ahead and just take control of everybody's estate and put it all into one big giant trust. And if you're still alive, great. Come back up here and we'll give you all your stuff back and all your land, titles and everything. You can have it all back. But no one ever did that. They just kept it all in the trust. And it goes back to England in 1666. There was some major fire or something. And they took everything and put it into a trust. It actually goes back to the Catholic Church and the Vatican. They claimed ownership of the whole earth and everything in it and all the souls. It's called the Holy See. And it's the first Sustake V trust. One of them, there's actually three of them. That's why there's three crowns on top of the Pope's tiara or his crown. They own all the property, they own all the souls, and they own all the physical bodies. I think that's it. And that's never been contested ever by anybody. They own the whole world in Elodium. And all the kings and queens, Queen Elizabeth, all them, they all work for the Vatican. I mean, they work at the I mean, they're given their crowns by the Vatican, basically. You see them every in their crown ceremonies or their bicentennial things or their jubilees or whatever. It's always sought after by cardinals or bishops or someone in the Catholic Church. And if you go back to the the Treaty of Peace after the Revolutionary War in this country, which was signed in France. Go back and read it. Just pull it up, Treaty of Peace. And you'll read in the first paragraph that the King George, who was actually king of England and France, was the treasurer for the Holy Roman See, Vatican and See. Can't think of it all. And of the United States. That's why in this country right now, even in the state of Maryland, there's a county called Prince George's County. You knew that. And it's called New England and New York. These are all English names from England. And the English troops didn't leave here until after the war. Just like in any war where the imperial forces are involved, like in Iraq, is the Iraq war over now? Or I don't know, but the troops are still there. That's how it kind of was with the Redcoats here. The war was basically over. I mean, there was no actual fighting going on. Maybe little scrimmages here and there while they get everything locked down. But the troops are still there. And they didn't leave here until like 1789. Is when they finally went back. And those are years, 10 or 11 years after the signing of the Treaty of Peace. And the first rule of war, I think, is, whoever loses leaves the battlefield. You got to go home. You got to get out of here. But they stuck around for a while. So anyway, what's my point? See, I keep digressing into stuff. It's hard to explain any of this without going into a little bit of a backstory. So, insurance. So anyway, the Civil War, Chesapeake v. Trust Act. They own all the estates. We don't own anything because what we see as Federal Reserve notes, this isn't actually money. It's not backed by any gold or silver or anything of any value. It's a promise to pay. Promise to pay what? Promise to pay. Promise to pay. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's you have to pay to use it. You know what I mean? That's what they call interest or usury. So that's what your federal income taxes are about. The federal income taxes, we rent this stuff from a company that it's a multinational company, the Federal Reserve Bank. People think that's our government, but it's not. It's European and international bankers. It's actually an insurance company, which gets me back to my point. The insurance that they con us into buying. Well, I'm thinking if they own my body, I'm just a pipe. I don't have any money anyway. This is not money. I can't own anything. I can't own a house. I can't own a car. I can't own anything. I can rent it. I can live in it. I can rent the space. But it's not my land. It's not my car. When they bring in a truckload of Toyotas over from Japan, do you know that they settle that account right there? Japan's already paid. And the con is because we're all debtor slaves on the plantation. They had bought us all a car. They're all our cars, paid from with our trust money. They're controlling the trust, and then they con us into buying the car for one, which kind of works out because people have jobs and they have something to do, and there's good aspects of it and bad aspects of it. But it's my thinking, if you own my physical body, and you can tell me what I can or cannot do with it, basically up until I'm 18 or 21 in some states. But like they're making a 17-year-old girl get chemotherapy, which is insanity. And their whole healthcare system is a complete farce because it's not healthcare, it's sick care. And all they do is treat symptoms, which is giving you pills. I got a backache, I got a heart attack. Here, take a pill. It's all petroleum-based, cancer-causing crap. So you can see how what I'm getting to is we're all just kind of chattel property on the plantation, being used and abused and milked for everything that we've got over our lifetime. Because you pledged all your labor at birth. And they issued that bond on the international stock market, and it's making billions and billions of dollars. Now, there is remedies, and I go into that on my blog. And you can kind of extract yourself from the system, become a secured party creditor. It's not easy, and there's a lot of study involved, but you can do it. being a secured party creditor just means, hey, I was lost at sea, and you guys took all my stuff and put it in trust, my estate, and now I'm here. I'm alive. Look, here I am. You got to notice everybody. And you send out your notices and do your paperwork. And say, hey, I'm alive. I'm not dead. I'm not a dead entity. Here I am. I was stuck on the sea. Remember that movie with Tom Hanks, where he gets stuck on an island? There's a lot of good parallels there. They thought he was dead, and he came back and goes, "Hey, I'm alive. What's going on?" So, but anyway, my point with the insurance is buying insurance is completely crap because it's their car, and it's their body, and they're insured. So why wouldn't I be insured? Let me tell you something. When you go to a hospital or something for an emergency and you don't have health care, they're going to make you sign something. But because it's a public hospital for the public, that means we own it. It's ours. You go in there and you get fixed up, whatever you do, get a cast in your leg, whatever you're in a car accident. It's paid for because there's no money to pay anything with anyway. There's nothing to pay. It's already paid. It's prepaid. They've got control of everything. They have all this stuff. Everything's in the trust. But the thing is through House Joint Resolution 192, they made you beneficiary of the trust. They don't tell you that. You're the grantor and you're the beneficiary. And they are the administrator of the trust. So there's no money to pay anything. But what we do is we enter into a new contract at that time saying, yes, I will be liable for a certain amount of money. And then they send you a statement in the mail of how much it was. And if you spent more than 5 minutes in the hospital, it's probably going to be $8,000. But my point is that, so now they're telling us that we need to buy healthcare insurance. But everything's already prepaid, and there is no money to pay with anything anyway. And if you own this physical body, then it's your responsibility to pay it because you're the administrator of the trust. And all I have to do as the beneficiary, all I have to do is sign for it. Right? Because I'm like the paymaster. You can't go to a corporation. A corporation is a dead entity. And that's what the District of Columbia is, and all these states are just dead entities. They're corpses. They can't do anything without us. That's how they make money off of our signatures. So, but my other point too was that when you have to buy car insurance, if you watch television, the big sporting events, you got the Super Bowl and everything coming up, and what they do is they're always hitting you with these car insurance commercials, right? GEICO, which stands for Government Employee Insurance Company. Interesting, isn't it? Because we all are basically government employees or corporation. We all work for the same corporation. Because if you all the states are sub-corporations, all the cities are sub-corporations, all the counties are sub-corporation, and the private businesses are registered with that corporation, which means that sub-corporation owns the business, the McDonald's or whatever, the restaurant, the tire shop, the whatever is registered, they own it. So it's all one big corporation. So you're seeing all these commercials on these big sporting events, the Super Bowl and everything, and they're saying, call in and get your auto insurance. And you're thinking to yourself, well, God, how do they have all this money to constantly blast commercials like that? It's got to be expensive, especially on big sporting events. So what they're doing is they're taking all the money that we're paying in car insurance and using it to fund and operate these television channels that keep you dumbed down and occupied and entertained while they're just stealing everything. So we're actually paying for our own stupidity, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. You see how that works? It's interesting. Auto insurance, healthcare insurance. I don't. Pretty soon, I think the healthcare insurance money is going to be used to build our own, concentration camps, unfortunately. Because pretty soon, it's going to start out with when it really hits, when it really kicks in, the Obamacare, people are going to have to pay a lot of money, and they're not going to have it. And then the insurance company that you signed up with, which is not the government, is going to take you to court. Okay? And this is how they do it. They take you to court, and you're like, well, you bought this insurance, and now we insured you, but you're not paying us our money. Like if you owe a lot to a credit card company or something, over 10 grand, they'll take you to court. And unless you know how to do some administrative processes on your own and what's going on, information that I have on my blog, stopthepirates.blogspot.com, you're not going to know how to deal with these administrative processes and these bills and these statements that these people are sending you. I know a lot of people just get scared. I was in the mortgage industry for a long time, and then I got into the loan modification business for a long time, which is a total fraud. Don't ever scam. Don't ever do that. People just go into panic mode. You know, when they don't have money to pay something, they just go into hiding. They just go, don't pick up the phone, don't answer the mail, don't, magically it's going to go away. It's not going to go away. So if you sign up for healthcare, which is the law and everybody's doing right now, they're going to want you, and then you can't like pay it, or God forbid you got a family of 4, and I haven't looked into the prices, but apparently it's pretty high with the deductibles. And if you're one of these freaky parents that walk around, squirting disinfectant gel all your kids and everything, they're all going to get sick. Plus they're drinking milk, they're getting cancer viruses in the vaccines, too many of them. I mean, this is just a total, it's scary when you really think about the whole dynamic of it. They're going to make you sick just by the food you're eating, just by the vaccines, just by the chemtrails. So you're going to have to take your kids into the hospital or into the doctor, or God forbid, there's a car accident, there's a major trauma, you have to take somebody to the emergency room, and then you have you want to get the lowest plan possible, so you go the one with the biggest deductible, right, with the cheapest monthly payment. Again, this isn't the government, this is a private company that you're dealing with. And you might get a subsidy or something from the IRS, which is a collection agency for the foreign consortium of international bankers that we borrow this stuff from and pay interest to use it. But God forbid you have to take a kid in, and then all of a sudden you got a $5,000-$10,000 deductible you got to pay before any of your insurance even kicks in. And if you don't pay it, they're going to, they'll wipe out your whole credit picture. So there goes your credit cards and everything else, and your car loans, and you're driving crap, and then it's just a snowball effect. And then eventually you just start losing your mind. You start drinking, and Anyway, it's all planned, and it's all going to happen. They're going to bring this country down to Chinatown, believe me. And so how they do it, how they put you into a prison or a concentration, there's not going to be any jobs. So you're going to be going to a forced work labor camp. And this is already Rex 84. They've already got all the paperwork done, and it's all figured out. The camps are already built, staffed. It's all ready to go. I think, but there's still kind of a lot of wealth in this country where we're not to the point yet where they're going to take us down like that. And you're not going to hear about it. I mean, it's not going to be like major news. I mean, there could be camps open right now. We don't even know. I mean, the prison system, we got more people in prison in this country than the whole world. I mean, per capita. We have 25% of the world's people in prison in this country, and we only have 5% of the world's population. Think about that. That's another big business, because they sell default judgment bonds on your cases, and they have a 98% success rate. You can't win in court. You can't. So that's why every crime is a commercial crime, and it has a monetary value attached to it. Murder is $4 million. When they issue the bond, it's for $40 million. When it goes international, they slap another zero on it. So we're talking huge amounts of money. You have no idea. Trillions. Just trillions. And people are so asleep they don't even know it. But anyway, so getting back to the healthcare, so what the court's going to do is go, okay, let's look at what you got. This is how much you make. This amount. Judge will look at you, and just like they do with child support. can you make $100 a month payment? You're like, yeah, I guess so. Okay. All right, so you make $100 a month payment, you know, and then the first time you miss that payment, they're going to slap you with a contempt of court because you disobeyed a judge's order. So now you're in contempt of court. Now you got a $25,000 bench warrant issued against you for contempt of court. As soon as you get pulled over because your registration is expired, they're going to haul you in. Now your kids are at school and you were meant to pick them up, and your significant other is doing something else. So there's no one there to pick them up at school. And nowadays you have to have you can't let your kids walk home. So you have to, nobody picks them up. So the first thing the principal does at the school is call Child Protective. They call your house where no one answers. You sit there for a couple hours, then they're going to call Child Protective Services. Now you're sitting in jail. Your kids are in Child Protective Services in a foster home somewhere. Probably getting ogled by some disgusting pedophile. And just all because you signed up for Obamacare. Right? I mean, that's how this country works. You know, it's nothing personal. It's just a business. Go to stopthepirates.blogspot.com. I've been talking too long. If you've listened to this end, God bless you. This is people like you I do this for. It's a tough road to hoe, but believe me, I think if you got to turn the TV off, you got to study this information, how this commercial system works. Because if you don't, you're going to get run over. And you know what? That's cool too. I mean, it's not all about... you know, living life. I mean, eventually you're going to leave here, and but if you have kids and things like that, I think you should owe it to them to try and help you help yourself, help me help you, help me. Anyway, thank you for listening. StopThePirates.blogspot.com. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you want. Thanks.